How's it going, everybody? I am going to take you through this semester exam review outline, and I'm going to give you some tips for how to study for this exam. What I've done is I've taken the directions from each section of your exam, I've put them on this sheet for you, and then I've also put links to videos that you can go and watch for a little refresher course to review and to get some really good tips on how to pick the right answers. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the directions. The sections of your exam will just ask you to demonstrate the skills that you have in studying Latin for the past couple months. Right? And this is the first basic skill. List the 5 cases in order and their uses. These are going to be the same cases that you put down on the index cards when we did our index card activity. And you remember that they went in a specific order, and this is the order that they're going to go in: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. Those are the 5 cases in the correct order. What do we use these for? The nominative case we use to indicate is the subject of a verb. The genitive case shows what's called possession, and we use the word of to translate the genitive case. The dative case shows us that a noun is an indirect object, and we use the word to for the person's name. The accusative form shows us that a noun is a direct object, and the ablative case is the object of a preposition, such as by, with, or from. If you commit those to memory, those 10 items, you will score perfectly on this section of your exam. If you need to review that or need a better explanation, you can go to these videos from YouTube for a good explanation of cases. Part B, decline the following noun using the endings of the first declension. If you click on that, it'll actually take you to a list of those endings, or you could look at these 2 videos. One of them is the high pause guy that we watched. Right, the forms that you're looking at go in order of the cases that are above. So the nominative form is the one that's provided for you. And all you have to do is remember what those endings were. If you need to sing them to yourself, you can. I, is, as, is. So all you have to do is remember how those went. Okay. Remember that this one had a hat over it, right? That line, that little macron. Okay. But for this section, don't forget, you're actually going to write the entire word. So please don't write just the endings. You'll get these wrong. What you want to do is add your stem, okay, and then add that to the ending that you've put there. So we-I, for example, okay, this one would also be we-I. This would be we-am, and this would be we-a. Don't forget the little hat. Okay, over here, this one would be we-I. This would be we-arum. Okay, this would be we-is. You want to make sure that you use the ending and the stem, right? And don't leave any part of the stem out or the ending. So yes, there are 2 I's in that noun. Okay, and that is the endings of the first declension. If you can memorize this like you did before, you will get a perfect score on this section. Don't forget that the cases go in order like they do in section A. So if you're not sure what case goes with which ending, just remember the order doesn't change based on which declension you're using. It's always the same order of cases. For this noun, the endings of the second declension, you can go to this link to see a list of them, or you can watch these 2 videos. One of them is the high pause video. And the technique for this is you're going to use everything that's not the US. That's going to give me my stem, like so. And then you're just going to add, then you're just going to add the endings of the second declension, the endings that you'll find here. So equus, equi, equo, equum, and equo. In the plurals, that US changes to the letter I. Equi, plural, equorum. These are the same as the feminine, the first declension, equis, equos, and equis. So if you can memorize these 10 forms, you will get a perfect score on part C of your exam. And again, please use the links that I added here for you to review. Right, conjugate the following verb in Latin. This one's actually pretty simple too, right? You'll have one of these forms provided. What you're going to do is take everything, including the A, and that's going to be our stem. So we're going to have 6 forms. Okay, and then for the first person, you're going to replace that letter A with the letter O. So laboro. The second person, you're going to have the letter S. Third person, you'll have the letter T. And then the first person plural, laboramus. This is the ending. Laboratis for second person plural. And then the third plural is laborant. Okay, so the forms look like this when you type them out, singular and plural. This is how they appear. Those 6 forms, if you can remember that technique and you can commit those endings to memory, you will do just fine on this section of the exam. So your endings here are O, S, T, mus, tis, and NT. Those are the endings for the verb. When you go to put the translation on it, all of these mean work. The only difference is going to be who's actually doing the working. So work, work, work. They all mean work. But we change the ending, so we change who's actually doing it. So the first one, laboro, means I work. Laboras means you work. Laborat is he or she works. Okay, in the plurals, we have laboramus, we work. Laboratis, you work. And laborantes, they work. Notice that the ending of the verb corresponds to the subject of the English word. So laboro, I work. Okay. Laboras, you work. Laborat, he or she works. Laboramus, laboratis, and laborant. So basically, to do well on this exam, you'll just have to know O equals I, S equals you, T equals he or she, mus equals we, tis equals you, and NT equals they. If you can do that, then part D on your exam will be flawless. Parts E and F are going to ask you to select the correct form of a noun. And in order to do this correctly, you should watch the video, although I am going to explain how to figure out the answer right now. You're going to have a Latin sentence. This one says Romani, and then I'm going to we're missing a word. Adorare non solent. So let's break this down. In Latin, I know that this word Romani means the Romans. And I know that because my ending here is the letter I know that I have a plural. So Romani, the Romans. Non solent, this is a verb that means to be accustomed. So are not accustomed. Okay, adorare, with this re, I know that this means to worship. And then I have three forms of the word which means king, right? A king. And so this question is asking you which spelling of the word of these three would complete this sentence grammatically. I know that rex is the subject form of this word king. So rex is actually out because I'm not looking for a subject. I'm looking for the form that ends the sentence. Regem, if I see this em ending, I know this is a form that ends the sentence. And if I see regis, I know that this is the form that means of the king. So letter C is out, letter A is out. So the word I'm looking for in this blank is regem, and that's the word here. So the answer to this one would be letter B. In sentence section F, complete the sentence using the correct form of the word. Again, we're trying to distinguish the correct use of the noun here. Gisco sees a dog. I know Gisco is my subject. Sees is my verb. And then I have the word dog. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at not the subject, not the nominative spelling. And I know that this is a direct object form, canem. So that's going to be my answer. Gisco canem in insula videt. You might be saying, why is it not canes? And it's because you know the letters es indicate that something is plural, not singular. So this actually would mean dogs. Canes would mean dogs. Okay. And then canis would be a dog, but with a verb after it. And canem is the only one here that has a verb. And then the word dog. And that's what you have in this English sentence. So we will practice that more, I promise. Letter G, I'll give you some really good examples for that later. And the same thing with letter H. In section I, determine whether the verb form is singular or plural. Very easy to do. Read the verb, find the ending, nt, and then just go back up to section D. I see the letters nt are in the plural column, so this answer is going to be plural. Okay, take a look at number 2, potes. I see the letter S on the end. And I'm going to go back up to section D. I see the letter S. I see that's in the singular column, so that's going to be singular. Could not be easier. Letter J, determine whether the noun form is nominative or accusative. Very simply, find the ending here, equi. The ending is I. I'm going to go back up to section C, and I see the nominative forms look like this. The accusative forms look like this. Equi is in the first set of boxes here, which I know is the nominative case. So that one is going to be nominative. How about this word vi? The ending is ae. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to say, okay, vi. And there it is in the genitive, but that's not one of our choices. Our choices are nominative and accusative. And let's look a, am, ae, as. And so I see their nominative, plural. So the answer for this one is also going to be nominative. What about arcos? I see the os ending. Go back up to section C, nominative and accusative. I see the os ending here, and that's going to be accusative. So the answer is that's going to be accusative. And then pensionem, this is tricky, but don't get too discouraged. Em is actually analogous to the letters, the ending um and the ending am. So as long as you keep that straight, you'll be able to tell that that word is accusative. Okay. For gender in letter K, section K, all you have to know is the US words are masculine, the A words are feminine, and the UM words are neuter. So let's take a look. US, Lucilius, that's masculine. Katia has an A, so it's feminine. AE is in section B. These are the A endings. Right? We see there's the AE. There's the AE, so that's first declension, and that would be feminine, just like number 2. Templum, anytime you have that UM there, that's going to be a neuter noun, right? And then psitaki, this is the parrot. Look at that letter I. Which form is that? That's actually going to be here, right? The letter I, equi, and we see that's originally one of the US words. And so I know that one is going to be masculine, okay? Part L, this is the most interesting one. From each pair of words, circle the correct form which fits the use in the English sentence. So I'm going to try and do this one with you. The girl has a donkey. Circle the correct form. So what I know is the girl is singular. There's only one girl. If I go back up and I look at my forms in section B and C, I know that only one of these is singular, and it's going to be puella. Okay? Has a donkey. All right, so these two forms, one is singular, one is plural. I know that the word girl is singular, so I have to select the form that is singular, and it's going to be this one right here, habet. A donkey, a donkey. The two forms that are here, one is a subject form, which comes before the verb in English. One's an object form that comes after the verb in English. Since I know that the word donkey comes after the verb in English, the only choice there is going to be asinum with the um, the accusative form. And is the word et. She hurries. So the ending for she, if you go to your verb forms above, we know that the ending for she is the letter T. So there we have festinat. And then here it says to the street. I have two choices here. One says to the street. The other one just says in the street. So which one am I going to pick? I'm going to pick the one that says to the street.